When the so-called United 2026 bidding team won the right to host the tournament in 2018, it estimated an average ticket price for the final of $1,408. So they said we're going to have an average ticket price of $1,400. That's a lot, but it's a final. You understand it. But actually, what they've come to is 3.5 times more in the end. I understand why people are upset.
Our first story of the day is a World Cup story. So I'll let you know that our World Cup coverage here on Morning Kickaround is brought to you by Oakland County Football Club, celebrating 10 years on the field in Southeast Michigan this year in 2026. Visit Oakland County FC online for more. Lots of big announcements. The schedule's up. Tickets are available. The theme nights for the season have been posted, as well as a stacked roster of ringers for the Weiss TST team. Oakland County FC debuting in the soccer tournament this June.
You know, I just found out Landon Donovan's going to be playing on Mike McGee's team. So that's big news for the soccer tournament, which I've never really engaged with. Maybe this is the year.
Maybe this is the year indeed. But our World Cup topic is across the seas. Football Supporters Europe and the consumer rights organization Euroconsumers filed an 18-page complaint Tuesday with the European Commission in Brussels, citing FIFA's engaging in bait advertising, uncontrolled dynamic pricing, and pressure selling tactics, which breaks European sales policies.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the law part of this, like how this apply, like how the European Union's laws about ticket prices and scalping and gouging and all that. I don't know how any of that price controls. I have no idea about any of that. I'm looking at the actual report. There is zero chance I'm reading every single word of this, so it's too long, didn't read. Give me the summary, and there it is. Thank you very much to Matt Slater at The Athletic for summarizing this for us. The Euroconsumers organization claims that world football's governing body has abused its, quote, monopoly position to impose excessive ticket prices and opaque and unfair purchasing conditions on European fans. Now, obviously, they're doing this to everybody, not just European fans, but of course, this is the consumer rights organization based in Europe, and this is the Football Supporters Europe who are filing this 18-page complaint. They have identified 6 specific abuses of European Union competition law. They claim that prices this summer will be significantly higher than at any previous World Cup, with tickets for the final at New Jersey's MetLife Stadium on July 19th starting at $4,185, 7 times the cost of the cheapest ticket for the 2022 World Cup final in Qatar, and more than 40 times the cost of the most affordable seat at the 2024 European Championship final in Germany. When the so-called United 2026 bidding team won the right to host the tournament in 2018, it estimated an average ticket price for the final of $1,408. So they said we're going to have an average ticket price of $1,400. That's a lot, but it's a final. You understand it. But actually, what they've come to is 3.5 times more in the end. I understand why people are upset.
Yeah, no doubt about it at all. And fingers crossed that this comes to some sort of fruition and the European Commission here does something to FIFA to make them change their policies or the way that they're selling in the lead up to it. We feel like this is a little bit late in the game for anything to happen. Like I said, fingers crossed for it. And I mean, at least to put it on the record that there's not compliance, that people just, blindly went to be consumers on it. But I mean, what's the likelihood that, any sort of injunction or any sort of repercussions would come from such a thing?
I don't know. I find it very, that's the cynical side of me is like, nothing's going to happen. FIFA's not going to get in any trouble. They're not going to be punished. There's not going to be any way of clawing back any of this. And in Matt Slater's article, it sums it up. I mean, this is really at the crux of everything, and it speaks to the hyper-capitalist nature of everything now, including the custodians of our game, FIFA, who are supposed to be doing right by the fans, even as they are trying to grow the sport and spread the wealth. It says, FIFA's argument is that American consumers are used to paying large sums for premium sport. just as they are used to dynamic pricing, where the price of tickets can rise or fall depending on demand. It is also pointed out that resale sites are legal and widely used in the U.S., so FIFA would be missing out on huge sums if it left the resale market completely to third parties. Just covering themselves in excuses built on the fact that we're already exploited, Rob. As a culture, we're already exploited. And FIFA's like, yeah, we're just going to get a piece of that. We're just going to dive right in and leverage all that terrible stuff that's part of American consumerism.
And it's wild. I'm curious to see how the last few weeks are going to play out leading up to kickoff, because is it going to be, there was also the story this week about the FIFA blocks at hotels not being booked up. You know, they secured thousands of bookings already, but shed like 20% of all bookings of hotels in host cities. And so maybe that market is starting to be realized that like not everyone in the world has thousands upon thousands to throw in a pot for, you know, traveling and entertainment, and that, you know, maybe people are holding off a bit. So will we see, you know, this last minute crash in prices for people able to walk up because there was a lot of unrealized ticket purchases or people just weren't showing up? So it's going to make it very difficult for, this is specifically about the Euro consumer. Like, you know, if you're going to make international travel, you got to plan ahead, you know, significantly. Almost buying now is, you know, kind of short-term planning, with it being,
oh yeah,
you know, under 3 months away, and to put an international travel itinerary together could be tricky for them. But I feel like it's going to be kind of an odd lead up to this if, you know, the ticket sales remain low but the prices remain high. That supply and demand at some point has to collide, but how that's going to play out is yet to be seen, obviously.
I suppose. The upshot of this is the complaint calls on Brussels, which is where the European Union is based, to stop the use of dynamic pricing for World Cup tickets sold to fans in the European Economic Area, which does not include the United Kingdom following Brexit, and to freeze prices for the upcoming April sales phase. It also wants FIFA to publish how many tickets are left in each of the 4 price categories and where those seats are in each stadium, because this has been opaque from FIFA. This sucks, Rob. I mean, that just sucks.
Yeah, it's hard to paint it with any other brush than that. And one thing I saw specifically as far as the example of the bait and switch is FIFA, when they dangled that there was $60 supporters tickets, when that was a farce at best. And, you know, at the best, that was like a handful of tickets were actually for that price, but it didn't seem like that necessarily got into the hands of the people that they were directing it towards. This comes on the same week as we will know the remaining participants in the actual tournament this summer, the European playoffs. And I think all the playoffs are conducting this week. And I mention this because the United States men's national team will know by next Tuesday who that 4th member of their group will be. So, the United States will face one of 4 teams: Slovakia versus Kosovo, Turkey versus Romania. Both of those matches happening on Thursday, and the winners of those matches will play each other on Tuesday. So come Tuesday afternoon, we will know who that 4th member of USA's group at the World Cup will be. And I believe that's the 3rd opponent in the group schedule for the United States men's national team that will join Paraguay and Australia on the confirmed schedule for the World Cup. Our World Cup coverage here on Morning Kickaround is brought to you by Oakland County Football Club, celebrating 10 years on the field in Southeast Michigan this year in 2026. Visit Oakland County FC online for more. Lots of big announcements. The schedule's up. Tickets are available. The theme nights for the season have been posted, as well as a stacked roster of ringers for the Weiss TST team, Oakland County FC, debuting in the soccer tournament this June.